This week, we are exploring our final quality of movement, radiating, as well as talking about the other kind of radiation and adding quality to action, right after this. Hi, the Inspired Actor here. If you're new to this channel, we are dedicated to helping actors become better artists by offering these quick, roughly 10-minute acting lessons. We try to post these weekly, so if you want to see more videos like these, go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as they come out. Also, take a moment before you forget and hit that like button, as it really helps me out. And if you know people who might like these videos, please don't hesitate to share them on your social media outlet of choice. If you haven't seen my earlier videos on qualities of movement, it is probably best that you do so. In them, I introduce the concepts of adding these qualities to actions and explore the other three qualities of movement: molding, flying, and flowing. So if you missed them, I'll get you started by putting a card up here so you can catch up. If you don't feel like doing that, here's a quick review. Whether internal or external, an actor is always playing actions in their work. These actions can be external, like stabbing the king, or internal, like taking on the responsibility of being king.
I aspire to be the king.
Or both at the same time.
I aspire to be the king. Stab.
But they are still actions that an actor undertakes in their work. However, how the actor undertakes those actions is what makes acting engaging and alive. And by adding qualities to our work, we answer the question of how the action is performed, which is the most important question an actor must answer. It is also important that we remember that we cannot act the quality itself, but can only perform an action with a quality, as trying to act only the quality can devolve quickly into cliché or mugging. Playing an action with a quality allows whatever feelings or psychology the quality provides to be received and performed naturally, organically, and most importantly, truthfully. The Chekhov Technique uses 4 qualities of movement as a base to work from. These qualities are based on the 4 elemental forces of nature derived from classicism: earth, air, water, and fire. Or for our purposes, molding, flying, flowing, and radiating. These are not the only qualities an actor can use, but they are incredibly useful as a place to begin, and often that's the hardest part. Now let's explore the final quality of movement, radiating. Find your home stance. Arms resting gently at your side, chest open, feet shoulder-width apart, neck long, shoulders relaxed. Begin walking about your space normally. Experience the world around you consciously, but with a feeling of detachment and ease as you sit, stand, pick up an object, and so on. Imagine that your ideal artistic center, that space right in the center of your chest, is beginning to heat up. Imagine it growing hotter and hotter until finally it begins to burst into flames and becomes a tiny little sun sitting inside of you. Imagine the warmth from this sun and let it fill you with a feeling of pleasure and joy. Imagine that your whole chest is lit up with fire and light, and that you can send warmth and light from this fire anywhere in the room that you like. Once you have played with that a bit, imagine that the fire is growing now and filling each part of your body with fire and light all the way through your fingertips, through the top of your head, and the bottoms of your feet. Imagine that you are the fire at the tip of a candle and that you can move about the space safely. No harm is coming to you or any of the space around you, but you are adding a welcome feeling of light to every bit of the space you occupy. Now let the fire grow to the size of a campfire. Your fire is roaring, but still giving light and heat to the space emanating about 3 feet from you in all directions. Imagine yourself expanding to fill that space. Now imagine that you have spread out and that you are filling the entire room you are in. You are everywhere in this space. You are filling the room with your fire, and you are huge and powerful and very hot. Everything you touch becomes a part of you and is burning. Now let the fire die down and retreat back to the borders of your body. However, you still retain the heat and power of a much, much larger fire. You are white hot and you fill the space with intense heat and light. Now let the fire retreat back into a tiny ball in the center of your chest. Do not lose the intensity. It is still there, very powerful but very small, and you have complete control over the direction and intensity of the light and heat emanating from within your ideal artistic center. Feel and enjoy the feeling of fire within you. When you are ready, stop, unwrap this quality from around you, and send it up into the air. And that's radiating. In my experience, radiating tends to be the trickiest of the 4 qualities to master. What is the tempo of fire? Is it fast or slow? What is its rhythm? Is it legato, flowing from one moment to the next? Or is it staccato with short, sharp changes of movement? Can it change from one moment to the next? How does fire make you feel? Unlike flying, which tends to be seen as a very positive experience by most of my students, radiating tends to be highly individualized. Some people receive a feeling of terror or anger from radiating, and some receive a feeling of power and ease. The truth is, though, there is no right psychological response to any of these qualities. It is up to you, the actor, the creative individual, to note how these qualities affect you so that you can use them efficiently in your work. Also, like I said last week, English was not Michael Chekhov's first language, and as a result, there is the occasional overlap with terminology. Like floating and flowing last time, this time we have big R radiation and small r radiation. Big R radiation is what we are referring to here. It pertains to the classical elemental force of fire, and it refers to the heat and flame emanating from the fire itself. Remember, the flame of a fire is only the visible portion of fire that we can see. It is a chemical reaction resulting in light and heat, which is being emitted by the substance that is actually burning. So for our purposes, we are putting much of the emphasis on the quality of the flame and the light and heat being radiated from the fire. Small r radiation is the polarity of receiving. When we are acting, we should be in a constant state of radiating and receiving with our scene partners, our audience, the actions we are performing, and the atmosphere of the play or film. This is a constant and simultaneous process, and I would like to go into it in much more detail in future videos, so I'll leave it at that for now. As for tweaking the terminology, to be honest, I really don't know if there are better words in the English language for these concepts. I could go with flaming or raying or emitting, but those don't seem right to me. For radiating, receiving, you could say sending, I suppose. If you have good ideas, let me know in the comments. Finally, I'd like to show you how using quality with archetypal gesture might work in rehearsal. So here is a short session with Caitlin I'd like to share.
So,
Or whichever one.
yeah, let's work with the 6. Good. So now we've scored that opening part, right? So it is
So
just
dramatic.
right. We hi, hello, how's everything? Fine, I guess. Could be anything. It could be anything. But in this case, we're bringing in a lot of tension for some reason. I don't know why. But so hi is I'm rip tearing, and then your hello is dominate, and then I push on how's everything, and you rip tear it again on fine, I guess. Okay, now let's add a quality. Let's try to focus in on a quality for those four things. All right, so I've been playing this a flying rip tear. So flying, hi. And I don't really see any reason to change it because we're just working from a basic scene. Now, if I wanted to, I could change it to like a molding rip tear. Like. Hi. But let's do flying, all right? Then what quality is your dominate?
I think it's floating.
Floating? Floating or flowing dominate. Okay, great. And then I've been molding for some reason. Because I've been inspired to do stuff, right? So it's molding push. Okay. And then what are you doing for your final rip tear?
It was molding.
Hi!
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
Good. What are you ripping and tearing there? Because I feel like you're self-ripping and tearing.
It does kind of feel like a self-rip and tear.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. And that is possible to do. So, fine, I guess. Right? So just make sure that you can adjust it just a little bit. Because, again, once we add quality to gesture, to archetypal gesture, it becomes a psychological gesture. So at that point, you can use the archetypal gesture as a base, but it can be, instead of rip tearing out, it can be a rip tearing in, right? So, and there's a difference between this rip tear and this rip tear, because obviously this rip tear is yourself, okay? So let's do this one more time with those things. Now, for me, I feel like my high is way big. It's huge. And for film, it would suck. So let me try to veil that a little bit, maybe down to 50%. Hi.
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
I can't help myself. That's an interesting. I'm like, so to answer the question, who won in that beat or unit? I think the answer is me. I won.
Mm-hmm.
I win. Great. Always note your wins and losses when you're doing a scene, and your job as an actor is to show who won and who lost in that scene. So definitely, or in that unit. All right. So now let's veil it even more. So let's veil it. So I'm going to do 50% of my 50%.
Okay.
But I'm going to do 50% of everything else too. Okay. So we're going to veil it even more. And when we're veiling, we don't have to use the full gesture. We're just maybe veiling the gesture a little bit too. So instead of hi. How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
And now let's veil it all the way down so that we're not showing the gesture, or maybe showing the gesture just a little bit. Hi.
Hello.
How's everything?
Fine, I guess.
Right? And so that's how you work with a scene. You start with the big, full archetypal gesture, and then you play around with it, you explore it, you say, well, maybe I'm doing too much here, maybe I don't like the quality I'm using there. Rehearse, 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 veil, 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 until finally you have something that's presentable to the audience.
I hope that helped. Next time, we will be returning to script analysis, where I'll show you how to score a script for auditions and rehearsals. So if you want to be the first to be notified, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. See you guys later.